So today is day one of corgi sitting, but she did not get to come along on our little walk today. It was back to just the usual three. Tazzy, Tazzy. He's busy. He saw a truck pull in. And Zippy's over here resting again. Just trying to figure out how to do that this morning. And how much of her being crated up should happen at our house versus her house where it's quieter and nobody's there. And I brought the crate over to put in my office after thinking about it for a little bit. I was over there with her in her yard, let her run around quite a bit before we went over to our house, and my dogs just stood there in the yard and were not impressed. They are sometimes allowed to go over there, but not a lot. And it's been a little while. But when I pop up over there, they're usually not impressed because they can see everything that's going on and they don't appreciate it. But then I brought Daisy over to our house and we went into the backyard. I carried her in the house while I also carried her crate in the house. And mine were very interested in figuring out what the heck I was doing. So they were not impressed. Taz, I got to keep an eye on just because he's bull in China shop and a little hard-headed and very pushy. So I got to keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't get himself in trouble. But so far, so good. They ran around the backyard a little bit. Daisy chased Gidge while Gidge was going after the ball. Gidge does not like being chased, and she will typically walk away from her ball and act like she's not interested if she thinks somebody else wants it. But then, like, it's like it drives her nuts because she wants it, but she doesn't want the others to know she wants it. So they leave it alone and preferably leave her alone. But it was okay. Then I took the crate back to the office, and Daisy was not impressed when I caught her and put her in it before we came on our walk, but I figured she's still a puppy, so she'll be 1 on Sunday, and I figure I'm going to try to keep it as normal for these 3 as possible, in spite of having a house guest. But yeah, I don't know how it's all gonna work out. It's been a decent amount of time writing last night and made progress. Focusing on the timeline piece, and I was working on one, and then I thought of some things that I thought were necessary, but I didn't feel like they were a part of that timeline. So I started another document for another timeline. Still related events, obviously, but different point in the journey. And the first timeline is 2018 through 2025. The other timeline is 2011 through 2018. I was like, it struck me as interesting that those seem to be the time frames, and they're both 7-year stretches. So I figured that probably means something as well. And saw 4/29, which was Tyler's birthday, on the timer just then. So yeah. Of course, that was the one in 2018. That's where that one started, was when he died. So yeah, that's obviously a big important event on my healing process. And Not entirely sure how it's going to be broken up for like the other spans, because I feel like I need to do additional timelines for the time, or at least one for the time before 2011. But then I haven't really sat with those dates. I figure right now I'll probably just open another document and just start listing things that need to, or that I feel are relevant, and then focus on the other ones, because 2018 to 2025 is the most important time frame so far, because that's the big stretch on the healing part. I feel like the bit before that was essentially getting to the lowest point in my life, because that was a big key on this whole thing, was figuring out how people get stuck in situations they find themselves in. So the dark years, if you will, and getting the most lost and disconnected from myself, I feel like is that 2011 to 2018 piece. 2018 is kind of, I started it so far with Tyler's death because that was the big thing, but that was in July, so there's still like other stuff in there that will be probably stuck on that other chunk, which is why it goes through 2018. But yeah, I don't know. We try to navigate a lot of things. Also, I was thinking yesterday. No, they were cuddling a second ago, so he must have felt me turn around. I just kept being thankful that he wasn't going to be a pest like he was in yesterday's video, because he was a big pest in yesterday's video. But we're not doing that today. So, yeah, but I was thinking yesterday, it's like, what can I do for them, because they are younger and have more energy to burn than the 12-year-old does. And, of course, Gage went skating with me once, but I don't know that that's an everyday thing. And so far, it's definitely not. Car came in. I saw it, they didn't. So, that's fine. As long as they don't go nuts. They probably will if he's going that way. Only because there's nothing that way, so he's going to have to turn around at some point. Anyway. I was thinking about I could skate Gidget more regularly. And I was thinking about, okay, but that doesn't do anything for Taz on that end. So then I was thinking I could kind of jog him a little bit. And no, I don't want to take on both of them at the same time, because that would kill me. They would kill me. I have no doubt in that. Excuse me. But yeah. It's kind of, I don't know what I'm doing. I figure if I'm skating one and running the other, leave it. They heard it that time. Then that's gonna wear me out. And I'm not the problem on that. My energy, yeah. If I get worn out, then I'm gonna slow down on my riding progress. But I was thinking, it's like if I skate Gidge maybe 2 to 3 days a week, and then run Taz or something. But see, and I don't think he would run a whole lot. He he's funny because like he likes tug and stuff like that. He doesn't want to run so much. Like if I throw a ball for him or whatever toy he's playing with, if it's beyond 10 feet, then he just looks at me like, why'd you do that? So, yeah. I'm going to take it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I like it. Yeah. But then that would also take us to the point of if we do that, then the other two will not be happy while they get left behind. And especially if Ziva's not getting anything to make up for it in the other span. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do on that end. I know I would like to skate more than I currently am, but it's kind of still cold today. It's like, this is that weird time frame where it still has that winter chill, but you can still kind of see that things are starting to wake up a little bit for spring. And I mean, since it was 60 degrees the other day, that kind of was a big piece of that, but still. Today was just kind of, while we were meandering along on our walk, I was thinking about just everything being a part of the divine. And like even the rocks and the trees and all that stuff, it's like nothing is excluded from that. And I feel like it makes everything a lot more interesting when you think of it that way. I mean, at least to me. And thinking about that point with like all the people that say, and I've said it before, that God can't be real because if God was real, then explain what's going on. But then I think the explanation to that is the fact that everything is part of the divine, and if you're looking for something outside of yourself to fix things, then that's the problem, is your mindset, because you're a part of this puzzle too. So you have to, if you see a problem, there's a reason you see the problem, and that means you're supposed to do something to see how you can affect that, right? So another little pondering, I guess. Yeah. I know I wanted to do a video today, and I think a part of that is just to stay consistent and not fall off on my normal things, just because we're having some different things also in the midst of the usual, because Daisy definitely shakes things up a bit. But yeah, I'm confident I would not be able to have her in the car with me during a video like these guys are chill right now. If she was in the car, there would be no chill, and I'd have to hang on to her, which is kind of part of the issue on that, just because she's a wild child. And every time she's been in the car so far, Taz has tried to get up in the front seat to check her out, and that's not helpful. Even with this little seatbelt into the back seat. And every time she's been in the car, except today, and the only reason it wasn't today was because I had her and was, bringing her to our house. But normally Ziva's tied, or seat belted in the back as well for that chaos. I don't know, I might have to take a little bit of a hiatus from videos while I navigate the dog sitting angle as well as dealing with whatever we're doing on our little bit. From the standpoint of, I was up for a while last night working on the writing, and at first I had decided that I was going for like, let's say 2,000 words, and then I decided to push to 2,500 because it wasn't that far off, and I still had more that I was thinking about. But then I ended up I ended up back in bed and realized I had a bunch of other things that I wanted to think about or wanted to include on this timeline. So I started writing those things down again. It's like, that's the problem. Once I get going, sometimes it's hard to shut it off until I get really, really tired, and then I just can't go on anymore. And it's like, okay. And that's kind of where I was. So then I feel like maybe that's the element of the self-care piece that I keep getting or having come up as well. Pulling a lot of balance cards too. Talking about making sure that to keep things in balance right now and to, balance the giving and receiving aspects. Been a lot of kind of a focus on being receptive, which I think that's kind of part of where the direction on the writing has come in at. Yeah. I don't know. But maybe part of the balance is just sitting this out for a minute while I have other chaos going on and I'm focused on the writing piece and navigating the day-to-day stuff and the self-care. Because I woke up at like 8:30, but I was still kind of dozing and not ready to get up and moving until about 10:30. And honestly, I could go back to bed, and I think, what time is it? Like 1:30? Yeah, 1:37. I could totally go back to bed right now. So it's probably less than ideal, but yeah, it is what it is. I think I'm going to have to work on that being in the moment piece and making sure to check in with myself over the next few days while we have this puppy chaos going on as well. My aunt had said something the other day about my cousin was willing to have the puppy up at her house on the weekends. It's like, if I'm already doing this, let's just not have that be a whole thing where now we have to contend with connecting with the cousin, and is she coming this way to pick up the dog, or am I supposed to take it to her or something, because I'm not taking it to her. I just won't. And, they live like 45 minutes away, but at the same time, anytime, okay, if it's not a birthday type get together, then it's like usually there's a big production about how much of a pain in the ass it is to come up or to come back down. It's like, you're not that far away, dude. Yeah. I had made bigger drives more frequently than that, and that's really not that big of a deal. But yeah, I would just rather not deal with the drama on that end. So yeah. Went over to my aunt's house last night, And I was talking the other day about how she was like really spacey still. And it's like, that's still there. Very much. And yet my mom's mainly back to normal. So it's like that whole the energetic chords, like once, now that I'm aware of, all these connections and how draining they really can be, it's like, there's a whole lot more going on. There's a whole lot more layers to, like, the things that are taking place in the world. I felt drawn to this one Nordic Light reading thing today where she was talking about, feels like you are probably very affected with the collective energies at the moment. It's like, yep, there's probably a piece of that, but a whole bunch of that. Just chaotic confusion and unrest with events going on in the physical. Yeah. Tell me my recording will be stopped because the phone's ringing. I don't think so. I don't recognize that number, so I don't think I want to answer it. Yeah. Should probably clear my energy a little bit just to make sure this is all me and not and just picking up other stuff too. Because I do pick it up easily, and especially if I'm at all, drop the ball on any piece of that. Focus, grounding, yeah. Hopefully the time away from my mom will be good for my aunt, but we'll see. I don't know what's going on with my lighting today. Honestly, I don't know that I'll even post this one at this point in time. I was like, am I just talking to talk? Well, I mean, that's normally what I'm doing. But yeah, maybe I need to focus more on the self-care and not worrying about videos for the next few days. Although I'll still probably try to do something somewhere. There again. Is it absolutely necessary, right? I don't know. I feel like it's such a pretty day out, and I really don't want to just go back in and not, well, I mean, I want to write, and it's chilly to want to write outside. I am not above doing that, but we do have a little fire thing on the back porch, so I guess I could turn that on and sit outside in front of the fire for a little bit and write while the dogs play. Something to consider, I guess, because I've been trying to figure that out too. It's like, how am I going to be able to do the writing without the puppy in the cage? Because the puppy is puppy and gets into shit. So, yeah. I had a message from my mom pop up, and then I had another message from my aunt pop up. But I sent a picture earlier because there's a wire in her yard, and Daisy wasn't appreciating it. She was like on one side of it, and she just kept looking like it was a challenge to have to go through. She can go over it without a problem, but there are sections of it that are like more tightly wound than others, and kind of stretched out lower to the ground so she can go over them without a problem. But yeah, it's still having to be mindful of that. But it's kind of funny because she's like, corgis are smart, so just watching the wheels turn in her head as she's like figuring out how she's going to deal with an obstacle. yeah. That's going to be the thing, is figuring out the feeding end of it. And I told my aunt that I thought it would probably be better to leave her food over at their house, and I'll just take her over there a couple times a day to eat, because otherwise mine won't stay out of the food. Or last night Gidget comes in to see me when I'm sitting at the desk, and she looks all proud of herself, wagging her tail and stretching. It's like, why do you smell weird? She literally had a bath the day before. It's like, it smells chocolatey, but not fully. It's like, what did you do? So I get up and go into the kitchen, and I see she got into this chocolate peanut butter protein shake thing. There's a box of them, and yeah, she helped herself to one. I don't know if my mom's actually drinking those, or if they're just there to be another thing for my little pests to get into when they have a chance. But she sure did. And then I was looking at the carpet. I'm going to have to get the carpet cleaner on it, because there's like chocolate peanut butter stuff everywhere. At least since it's liquid, I know she didn't get the whole thing. A bunch of it went on the carpet, but she did get some. Luckily, she has not had any issues from that. Right, Gidge? Yeah. So I looked through the ingredients. It didn't look like there's anything too much to worry about on there, so at least there's that. But yeah. It's just kind of, last night was another one of those nights. It's like, okay, oh, here we go again, you boob. Hold on. Okay, you drank the rest of the water. It's empty today now. Yeah, they did all get some at some point, but he just finished it off, so now he can't. Don't be a pest. Don't be a pest. Oh, we're being a pest. Get back in there. Well, gross. Yeah. So last night, my mom's friend brought some more food stuff over. They've been going through her sister's house, clearing it out. So there's a bunch, they were going through the freezer, so my mom brought a bunch of stuff in a cooler. Bought a couple end tables from my grandma's house. Yesterday, her friend brought 2 boxes of canned goods over. And my mom had spent the day with her. I don't know if that was yesterday or the day before, but my mom spent the day with her and had a bunch more boxes of stuff that she had gotten from there. It's like, we're back at that, replacing the shit that's leaving the house so it can just sit there in the way. So like, we have like currently a little section of the table that's not covered, but as soon as more stuff like this comes in, then it goes right there. And it's like, then nobody wants to put it up or do anything with it. It's like, this goes right back to that whole energetic thing, I was talking about a while back. It's like, that discomfort of, okay, I've talked about how I feel like there's a certain amount of my stuff that I feel like I have to leave up, that's kind of serving as a barrier of sorts. And then, she brings a bunch of shit in like she has been here lately, and it's like, but why do we need it? We don't. I think she brought in like 6 bags of frozen lima beans. It's like, my dad's literally the only person that will eat those in our house, but that's only if she cooks them. And he's not going to go out there and get a bag of frozen lima beans and say, hey, I want this right now. but we're not doing actual meals. It's mainly, last night we had pizza, but, like frozen pizza, and it's like, it's no big deal. If it was a big deal, I could find something else, I'm sure, but yeah. But it's just that point. It's like, if we're not going to use it, why do we need more of it? And yeah, and like my mom was talking about, her friend just didn't make sense because, like some of the stuff, like, okay, a bottle of Pam. She said, well, wouldn't you use that? And she said, no, my mom could have it. And when my mom was pushing on why, she said, well, you like to cook more than I do, or something like that. You use it more. And it's like, I said, or ultimately, she doesn't want more shit in her house while she still has plenty. I said, the problem we run into is it's just a sort of dumping ground for other people's shit. Like, my aunt has stuff she doesn't want to have in her house anymore, and then she'll bring it over to. It's like, no, quit it. And especially if it's like food stuff. My mom's just won't say no, but it's like, nothing's getting put away anywhere. And like, there's all these boxes of, okay, they went to the grocery store yesterday and came back with these 2 boxes of, some weird kind of donuts, and 2 bags of powdered sugar donuts, and then a whole bunch of canned goods, and everything just stays right on the stove. It's like, did you have any interest in putting that up beforehand, or are you just like waiting for somebody else to come see it's a problem and to handle it? And I think that's a big part of probably why I'm so tired right now. It's just like feeling like the energy, it's like I feel the energetic boundaries closing in around me because of this other shit that's just piling up, and I refuse to be the only one that's doing anything about it. Now, when I was hungry and thinking about cooking something last night, then she kind of gets that little, now she's back in there, right? Now she's forced me to come around and do something to participate in her chaos. And I don't think she was impressed when I just chucked the donuts in the pantry and shut the door. Because fuck it. I don't even care. And then at that point, I was so irritated at having to be the one to move anything around anywhere that I walked away from the idea of even eating. It's like, I have no problem with fasting. I fasted for 3 days last week. I have no problem with doing it again if, like, all we're doing is having some sort of pissing match on her trying to rope me back into the chaos and me trying to remain firm on my boundaries of not just cleaning up all her messes. It's like, that's back to that garbage thing, right? It's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And I think I got her all excited when I told her that I would paint over at my grandma's house, because, yeah, they're going to pay me if I do that. But at the same time, it's because it's a reason for me to go over there. And if they can get me over there, then they can try to rope me back into the chaos, right? And it's like, no. It's like, I'm still going to listen to my music or whatever and have them turned way down, my family turned way down, because I don't want to deal with their chaos. I will say, if I'm over there, usually when there's something to do, like the times that I've had to clean the carpet or whatever, it's like, I usually wait until they're not there, because I don't want any part of them being in the middle of it, or watching the political bullshit that I don't want in my energy whatsoever while I'm there. I don't want to hear it. It's garbage. It's literally garbage. Nothing good will come from it. All that happens is people get locked into their fear and don't want to go anywhere beyond that, right? So, yeah. it's so funny. Like, this whole thing started so slowly, but now that I'm realizing, it's like she just brought a ton more shit in the house from her friend's dead sister's house, and then yesterday grocery shopping, and it's not getting put away. It's just staying there in the way until it's a problem for me, basically, is what we're at. Oops. Ziba went to get more comfortable and pushed herself into the door. Yeah, but that explains a lot, actually, on that. Like, why I'm even as tired as, like, I've been feeling this morning. Yeah, I stayed up a while and was writing last night, but, it's like the stuff that I do because I know it's what I'm meant to be doing, like the writing end. I do write until I get tired, and last night we cut off around like 12:30 or something. But then I had a few more notes that I wrote down when I went to bed. But yeah, it goes back to that whole damn boundary thing. And it's like, see, because it didn't really make sense when I first was thinking about it, because I haven't been around them very much. I actively try to avoid my family at all costs these days. And then I realized that there's all that shit that just keeps coming in. It's like, that's where it is. That's the leech on the energy at present. I think I am motivated to put the damn Christmas tree up. And yeah, it's like February, so I mean, it's perfectly okay, but it hasn't been a problem because the Christmas tree that still is up, there's actually two. The big one is in the living room, and when I'm going through there at 3:30 in the morning, it's kind of nice to have a little nightlight. So, but of course, it's not going to go anywhere unless I do it, or my dad will try to put it, or he'll half-ass it and then just throw it in the way somewhere else. So it's somebody else's problem. And like the biggest thing was with that one, my mom had gotten it for my grandparents, because their tree was about dead last year. And I mean, it's a fake tree that's probably like 1,000,000 years old, so very dead. But it was one of those pre-lit ones, and most of the lights were burnt out. So yeah, she decided to get another tree, and it was a bigger tree, so he wouldn't have allowed it in their space anyway. I mean, shy of getting rid of the TV to have it put there, because that would have been the only spot that it would have worked. It definitely would have pushed into the TV. But yeah, like I put that one up when she said, well, I guess we might as well just have it at our house. And, we didn't do anything worthwhile for Christmas as far as decorating or anything. It's like, I didn't care, honestly. And if I'm not motivated enough to do something one way or another, it doesn't get done. And thus the issue. It's like, I don't want to deal with their shit when I'm trying to figure out my own stuff and get this, get going on the writing thing, because I think the writing thing is really the biggest part of getting me out of here. And that is a priority, yes. So, got to try to navigate that, because I definitely want out of there this year. Sooner the better. I just got to figure out how to make that work. But I think what that really involves is some focused attention or intention setting, and making it more of a priority to have the conversations with the, pray to the divine, all that, or whatever. Just start the conversation and count on the response, because it does respond. You just got to know what you want. And that's been the biggest issue, is I've never known what I want. And then I think a big part of why I've never known what I want is because I have everybody else's shit creeping in on my energy and trying to impose on my stuff. And it's like, I don't want that. I want very much out of that situation. So, yeah. I do need to spend a lot more time thinking about that stuff. And a whole lot of gratitude for, I'm glad that I've had that space while I've been working through some of this healing stuff. But I'm even more grateful that the next phase of my life, I won't have to stay somewhere that I need to heal from. Because, yeah, that's kind of a nightmare, actually. You end up feeling confined to what all's going on, and then just to realize that that's literally the thing that's chipping away at my energy. And I never understood why I always felt that so clearly, that it's like somehow because I felt other people's stuff, I felt like it somehow made me responsible for fixing it. But that's not what it ever meant. That was just, I've spent my whole life around people that have absolutely no boundaries, because they've been so conditioned by this world that you don't need to have boundaries, because if you have boundaries, then, other people can't latch onto your energy and suck the life out of you, and yeah. It was really frustrating when I was talking to my aunt yesterday, because it's like I can see that so clearly with her. It's like she spends so much time with my mom, and yes, she had she's got the brain injury thing from the fact that she did die for 30 minutes a few years ago, but that all went way up when my grandfather was in the hospital, and my mom, was pushing all her life force at my grandfather, trying to keep him going. But now that he's not there anymore, well, now she needs that, energetic revival, and can't get to my energy unless she's just making the house further a shithole, and imposing on my energy that way. It's kind of funny though, when I spent some time writing the other day, and I did a video and something else, and it's I did some things that it's I was feeling pretty productive and proud of myself on that end. And then I had this random thing pop up on Messenger where somebody asked me about the reptile screen that I was selling, and it's that was gone within 15 minutes of starting the conversation. It's ooh, hey. It was only $5, but it got it out of my space, so that was nice to have it out of my space and that quickly without any confusion like those damn CDs have proved to cause. Yeah, I think I'll probably just take that box over to my aunt's house and tell her to do whatever she wants with it. She only listens to gospel stuff though, so I don't know that she'll really have a whole lot that would be interested in it. And she's got one friend, with kids. I don't know that they would allow their kids to listen to the punk sounding type. It's Relient K. I mean, FFH they shouldn't have a problem with. Down here they might be okay with, but I don't know that they'd have an appreciation for Skillet or Red or Relient K or whatever. And it's those were some of my favorites. So then at the same time, it's do I even bother going that route, because I kind of feel they wouldn't appreciate the stuff anyway. It's I did have a great appreciation for most of that music, so maybe I should split the box on that end. I don't know. Or tell my cousin to go through it and see if there's anything she's remotely interested in. I don't know. I thought about pulling out and hanging on to some of the ones that were my favorites, but it's like, I'm realistically probably not going to ever listen to those again. I mean, Relient K, don't get me wrong, I still have a bunch of their songs on some of my playlists, like when I am skating or whatever. Boomerang, can't complain. Yeah, still very good songs. But since my whole relationship with the church teachings is not what it was, I don't know. Some of it just seems a little, I don't know. Maybe I should spend some time meditating on that point. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what I want to do. I mentioned it to my aunt. Maybe I should pull the ones that are kind of more gospel-y sounding out and send those to her. But I just don't know. I'm pretty sure her Southern Baptist church isn't going to appreciate most of what I have in there anyway. Like I said, she mainly listens to gospel and stuff, so I don't know. Is what it is, I guess. Whatever it is, yeah. Man, that really, now that I've spent some time thinking about that and talking my way through that on here, it's like, that kind of annoys me. That whole freaking deal with just like all the, like the food stuff that comes in the house now and doesn't get put away because somebody else can worry about it, right? It's not a grape, so it's not priority. Apparently grapes are the only thing of priority at the moment because she's, for some reason, she goes through several pounds of grapes in a week because, yeah, I don't know. I mean, of all the things to be addicted to, there are definitely other things that would be far worse, but yeah, it's still, I don't know. But like they came back with this stuff, a whole bunch of stuff for the freezer, and I put some stuff away yesterday, and then my dad was putting some stuff away, and then he started cussing about, why do we even get more shit if we don't have any room for it anyway? And then, you know, my mom went out there for some reason, and he was cussing up a storm, and she's like, well, just get out of the way and let me do it. It's like, hey, that's a splendid idea. It was your idea to put it there anyway, so, or to get it there anyway, and just to collect it because she's only going to eat grapes, and it's only so much pizza I want in a lifetime. And I've probably tapped out on that, to be honest. But whatever. Yeah, I need to wash the family out of my energy again. Definitely. I was thinking last night, I was talking to my brother, I said, it's really weird not having friends anymore. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, I said, I talked to you and I talked to Ben, and I don't talk to either of you very much here lately. It's like, but, you know, the other people that I was talking to, I don't feel like they want. I feel basically like we're going in different directions, and, you know, we're just not in alignment with each other at this point. And it's like, while I was sitting there, it's like, I really wanted to kind of say something to somebody, but then I was thinking about it. It's like, I'm pretty sure the only reason I am itching to do that is to not focus on the writing thing, because the writing thing is still an intimidating thing, because like this is literally, I feel like my whole life is like coming together at this point for me to do this thing that I've always known that I've been supposed to do and haven't got done yet. Yeah. I do feel a bit more awake now that I've thought about how that whole thing has been going on, that food thing. Yeah, and it was like my dad, I got home, I think, from walking the dogs the other day, and he had his file cabinet pulled out from his desk, and it was just blocking the dog door, and then he was sitting on the couch watching something on TV. It's like, So I assume you were working over at your desk, because there's now this expandable garden hose that is brand new, and my mom's been looking for God knows how long, because she knew she got a hose somewhere, and somehow it ended up on the floor by his desk. It's like, holy shit storm, people. This is fucking annoying. And because it's frustrating, because I know I want to clear the stuff out of my space, but then how do I do that and maintain some kind of boundary against their stuff and not get taken over by it? And I don't know the answer to that. That's why I will get really good about doing a whole bunch of cleaning and purging shit, and then it just kind of stops for a while, and I, get wiped out and then have to take a break from it. And I've done that with the garage several times. It's like, when it's nicer out, I will have days where I get motivated to, clear a bunch of stuff out and just start getting rid of stuff. And my mom will eventually go out there, but usually it's like, she's going to get in there, and then she's going to start finding pictures and, look at this, and telling me stories that I've heard 500 times because of pictures that she just happened to come across in this box again that have been there for years at this point in time. And, yeah. And then my dad will come through and, what can I do to help? It's like, what can you do to help? Get the fuck out of my way, because you're just going to be in the way, throwing a temper tantrum because you don't feel like your presence is appreciated, and yet all you can do is you find something, get mad at it being there, and then just start throwing a bunch of shit away that, without going through it. And it's like, okay, I think I've talked on here before about the shed situation. When I was growing up, actually shortly after we moved into our house, after it was built, my dad and one or two of his friends helped build a shed. And we had the shed, and it had like all the garden stuff in it and whatnot. And then we needed a shed for the storage stuff. And because, like, the garden shed, eventually the floor fell out. It was never fixed. And, it was just tweaked so you could still get the mower in and out and all that fun stuff. But, still had big holes in it, and, bird nest stuff in the top and rodent stuff in the bottom and all that crap. But then we had the other shed. So then we had the old shed, which was the garden shed, and the new shed, which, was a decent sized one for storing stuff. And because we couldn't let loose of things, it just became a dumping ground, right? And so we're collecting all this shit. And when my dad would take stuff out there, he'd get so pissed at things being in the way or having to shuffle around things that he'd just start throwing it in. And then it's like, he's breaking shit. So it's like, okay, well, if you're just going to break it, then what's the point of even putting it out there to begin with? Why don't you just put it straight in the trash where, where it's not in the way? It's not waiting for somebody else to deal with it. And then when I moved back up here, and that's the other aggravating thing, is like, it always comes back to when I'm the one dealing with the shit, because otherwise, they can, out of sight, out of mind, it's somebody else's problem, ha 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 ha, and I remember writing this thing about just like the collecting junk, and it's like, that whole point there for a while with being conditioned to believe that because these things can be mass produced, then you suddenly need a bunch of them, so you never run out. Okay, it doesn't hurt my feelings that we're never going to run out of toilet paper because, you know, she's like on it every time there's a sale and all that stuff. But we do have a hot tub that cannot be used, which we won't use it anyway because my dad jacked up the water on it. So, like, you get half a tub of hot water and then cold water starts coming out. And I'm sorry, a hot tub that has cold water is just kind of, or lukewarm water at that point. It's like, that kind of sucks. You know, but it was one of those, the half-assed projects because he doesn't want to put the time or effort to do it right and make it enjoyable so you can actually use it and be happy. Like, I remember at one point even thinking about cooking some water on the stove to pour into it to keep it hotter. And it's like, that's way more effort than is necessary for taking a freaking bath. I will just freaking deal with the tub I have that, you know, not everything can be submerged at once, but at least the water can be hot. And now that's a thing again because, you know, I won't do baths anymore because we had to get a new hot water heater. And at first when he put it in, I think he set the temperature at like 125. It's like, I don't get hot water, like good hot water, for more than 10 minutes max. And I try to ease it so it's not all at once because I do like my showers and, you know, I like washing the family ickiness out of my system. But then he did up it a little bit, but it's still, you don't get a whole lot of hot water out of it. So it's like a bath that doesn't sound remotely interesting. Although it makes a lot more sense, I think, for like any time that I have taken or been inclined to take baths, like growing up or anything. It's like I use really hot water, and I think that's to cook the family out of my system. Now that I am aware of salt's effectiveness on that, I don't have to go as hot. Also, you know, some of it is, you know, the point that, well, if I use really hot water on my hair, it fades faster, so that's unfortunate. But I still like hot showers. I don't know, it just feels like, the situation in their bathroom, for whatever reason, their water stays hotter longer. I know I don't need to take forever long showers, but I got these cancer placements. I like my water, okay? I would benefit from a salt pool or something, but not in Indy, because that'd be hella cold. Yeah. I don't know. I just got to figure out something with getting out of this situation because it's not working for me. Especially when it creeps in like that and then I don't even realize it until I'm talking my way through it. And then it's like, son of a bitch, when did that happen? Yeah. And it's aggravating because I know the biggest thing, they were wanting me to agree to the painting project. I mean, of course I'm going to agree to it because I need money. But on the other end, it's like, I loathe the idea of spending time around them. I just do. You know, and then part of it's just because they spend so my mom will spend all her time over there with my grandma and her sisters and all this stuff, trying to, you know, step up and fill in Donnie's role because Donnie's not around anymore and somebody's got to be the responsible one and blah, blah, blah. But now she's the one that's like, everybody's feeding all this energy into her. So now she's back up to where she was before he died. And everybody else is kind of like suffering from it, right? You know, and they don't even know it. That's like the crazy thing is they're feeding into it and not realizing that it's literally sucking the life out of them. And yeah, so I just watch it and it's like, what the fuck can I do to get out of there sooner and to not be affected by this anymore? And I just do not know yet. But I'm going to have to spend some time on that one and figure it out. I feel like I am really close, though. Like, as far as energetically, I've gotten those messages, too, that there's nothing more for you to learn in this situation. So it's like, okay, so why am I still in this situation then? Everything has a purpose. So if I'm done learning the lessons from the environment and all that stuff, what can I do to get to the next thing? I don't know. For more of my focus on the book project, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. And it's so... I think that's the crazy part of it, is like, as I spend time on the writing stuff, then it's like other things start maneuvering into my awareness as well. It's like, there's something there that I need to follow that as well. And, I've talked about, having to get the chaos out of my system, and thus my walls are all like all sorts of chaotic with the paint. And it helps to be able to see the chaos out of my system to be able to make sense of other things. And I feel like this whole energetic cord bit is a huge part of that, and just realizing, where things latch onto your energy and start sucking the life out of you. And again, I mentioned Nordic Light earlier. She had that video I watched a few months ago that she talked about. It's like there's something around you that's looking at your energy and trying to find weaknesses in it so it can get its hooks back in you. It's like, hey, that's my family. Where can we suck the life out of you? And I'm just like, how the fuck do I get out of this situation so I can do something better and actually use my time and energy to help others, and not just in a way that's going to result in me getting the life sucked out of me, because they don't want to do their own work. They expect that I'm supposed to clean up their messes, and I'm not going to anymore. That was one of the things I realized that I left off of my timeline last night. And I had to text it to myself because I think I was in the bathroom when it occurred to me and getting ready for bed. And it's like, I'm not going to go in there. I had just shut my computer off was the bigger thing. It's like the piece in, I think it was October or November 2023. I think it was October because I'm pretty sure it was before my concert. Even though that was like a weekend, so it's like the 7th. Where my aunt and uncle ended up with an extra ticket for a football game and invited me to go along because they only had one. And hey, there's one of me. So I went with my aunt, my uncle, and one of my cousins to this football game. And I was talking to my aunt the whole time, and on the way over, or on the way home, and she was talking about how at some point you have to live your own life. And I was so aggravated because it's like, but I don't know how, and that's the problem, and trying to figure out, I think, disconnect from the shit that kept me from being able to connect with being able to have my own life and choosing things for myself because I want them, and being able to do that and get rid of the other stuff. It's like, how can I navigate this space now as I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, who I want to be in this world, and how I want to live, and not be so completely consumed by the other shit that just latches on anytime my guard wavers. And I think that's what it comes down to, is because, I saw the stuff coming in, but I wasn't really thinking about it until I went in there and was trying to think about using the stove, and hey, here's all this shit on the stove that now it's your problem, but then, yeah. Like I said, she wasn't happy when I chucked the donuts in the pantry. And I don't care anymore. It's like, if this is how we're doing shit, you want me to start chucking shit? Then, I mean, obviously she doesn't, because she was kind of like that I did. But on the other hand, I think she was also excited because it got some kind of a reaction out of me. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. But I think that's part of the purpose. And I think that's a big part of the universe using everything that's going on right now as a means of keeping me moving. I was like, here's a little kick in the butt. Keep going. Do not stop what you're doing, because you will figure this out. And I don't know how, what all figuring it out is going to entail or going to look like even, but I got to figure something out, because this is not working for me. Anyway, I am gonna get off of here and go do something else, I guess. There is a message that keeps popping up that there is a taco available if I want it, so maybe I'll go have a taco. On the other hand, if I do that, then they're gonna be all excited because I showed up for a taco. And then, we can pull her into our bullshit again, and maybe I'll go have, chicken or something. Go have a pineapple. I got one of those I need to cut, so I'll just go have some pineapple. Anyway, I'll figure it out. As always, I appreciate you. Till the next time. See ya.